Welcome to Carver Conversations. I'm your host, Tiff Marchand from Carver Designs, and this is a Saburrtooth podcast, and I couldn't be more excited to be here. Head on over to saburrtooth.com and sign up for their mailing list. They send out a coupon once a month for 25% off. You have 24 hours to use it, so you're not going to want to miss out on that chance. You can use our show code to save 10% off. The code is EM2CO. Head on over, sign up for the mailing list, and if you want to buy them now, EM2CO at checkout. Make sure to have that all in caps, and on to the show.
Hello.
Hey, success. Oh, man. Well, I've been pumped to chat with you and get to know you a little bit better and then also to learn about the company. But I'd love to kind of know a little bit of your past history. Like, how long have you been with Saburrtooth?
I've been with Friction Coating is the company.
Yep.
Saburrtooth is the product line. I've been with them. It'll be 16 years in August. I started as a tool coater. I just was coating Saburrtooth tools, via our process, and just worked up into what I'm doing now.
And your phone broke up a little bit, but where did you start off in? I'm sorry.
Just in coating tools.
Oh, you were just coating them?
Yeah, they had just started the Saburrtooth line, and they needed someone, not just, but a few years. And business was getting a little bit bigger, and so I was hired to coat tools. Friction Coating also sells grinding wheels for the rubber roller industry. So I was coating tools, and then I started coating wheels, and then just slowly moved my way into just being involved with Saburrtooth.
That's great. And what is your role exactly in the company?
I'm the general manager of Saburrtooth. So everything from purchasing raw goods to shipping, beginning to end.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And I think it's so awesome. You're one of the rare companies that ship international. How long has that been going on?
Probably, let me think. Since we launched the website, which was 2016. Before that, we had always been shipping internationally with the grinding wheel. So we were familiar with shipping internationally. And once we launched the website for Saburrtooth, we didn't start out right away shipping internationally for tools, but eventually did. It took a little while. It's still dicey sometimes, but it works out pretty well. All the planets are aligned that day and everything.
Well, it's funny because I just started posting on the Instagram, right? And one of the biggest questions that I saw today was, do you ship to, and then, insert a place? People are asking from all around the world for your product. And I think that's so cool.
It is. And they do. And we will ship anywhere. We're having issues shipping to the UK because of the VAT issue. And there are some places, I use stamps.com to ship all of the website items. And during COVID, they started not shipping to certain countries, and they're slowly adding countries back in, but there's still some countries that they just won't ship to. And there's some countries where their customs issues are so bad that it's really hard to get stuff into certain countries, like Spain is one that just seems nearly impossible to get anything through. So, yeah.
Those are the roadblocks it's hard to think about as a consumer, why can't they do it? But yeah, there's things that are beyond your control.
Right. And the Postal Service, international first class shipping is really difficult. They don't seem to even pay attention to it. Although I should say also, not just international, we're based in Michigan, and I once had a package, not this past holiday, but the holiday before, that was going literally, I could have driven it there in an hour, and it took 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So
unpredictable.
Yeah, for sure. And of course, as the consumer, you don't understand that. You're like, I know where you are. I can come and pick it up. Why can't I have it?
That is something tough to deal with. to really see in those situations where you're helpless. I work in print for my day job, and those are things that we run into all the time. Like we could have literally send somebody out to go pick it up, but you're waiting on people to transit it, you know?
Right, right. And it's hard to understand. I know I'm a consumer,
Right.
I
Yeah.
shop on the internet almost everything except for groceries. And I I try to be understanding, but then there's times, I'm on the phone screaming at somebody because I want my stuff.
Yes. We're people, we're complex.
Right, exactly.
So when it comes to Sabertooth, I know we were chatting about it, the colors and the different coarseness levels. What did you guys start with? Like, what was the first ones that were launched? Was there like three different ones or something, or was it just like one wheel?
They started with three. Before I got there, there was the three grits, 40, 70, and 90. So think about the quarter-inch shanks, yellow, green, and orange has always been, the Saburrtooth thing, yellow, green, and orange. And then added in another grit to the 4-inch wheels, which is red, medium. And then when I got it, I started adding in bigger grits. And then this latest, the grit that I just added not too long ago, year and a half maybe, the Whisper grit, the white one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the smallest grit we make for anything at friction coating, wheels, tools, anything. And they've been super, super popular, especially in the 1/8-inch shank tools. Just can't keep them in
I've
stock.
used
They're
them,
just,
and they take off more material than you would think with that spine of a grit. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't think it would take it off that fast, but it really does. So I
yeah.
can see why.
Yeah, that's what we're hearing. It takes off as much stock as a 50 grit, which is 2 grits above that, and not as much sanding, because I don't know anybody that loves sanding
Right.
at all. So, and I think that's why they've been so popular, because you don't have to do as much after work.
When you guys are testing out different products, what is the drive for that? Is it just feedback that you're getting from people who are using the tools? Or is it just like there are people there constantly thinking of new things that we can do?
It's kind of both. We take customer suggestions. We've taken suggestions on shapes and the grit. The 32 grit was my idea because I felt like we needed something smaller than a 40. But we have a really good engineer who's willing to do pretty much anything anybody asks within reason if we have the machinery to make it, because we do produce every shank tool in the house. So we can do custom work. It takes longer and it's much more expensive. But he's willing to try pretty much anything within reason if we can do it with our machinery. So,
That's pretty amazing. I
so,
like that
so
you
it's
do
both.
that.
Yeah, it's both. It's us and, we take advice, suggestions from the people who use the tools, for sure.
And you said you used to go to a lot of different shows in the past. Has Sabertooth always just kind of like really dive into the community and had a great presence? I know like when I heard of it, it just seemed like the company to go to, it had a very good presence.
Right. When I first got there, we were selling Saburrtooth only through distributors. We have a really great group of distributors who you can go to the website and see, a great group of people who distribute our tools. And then we started doing shows. And what we heard most from people was, why don't you sell them yourself? So after doing shows for a couple of years, that was the decision that was made from that. We gathered all that information, suggestions there too, and decided to start the e-commerce website and sell them, on our own as well. And it's been successful. And we still do have a really great group of distributors.
Yeah, I just
So
peeked at your list before we got on the call, and it's extensive. You're everywhere. It's amazing.
yes, we do. We have great distributors all over the world.
Is there something about the company that you want to share that people don't know about?
Let me think. I think when we say made in the USA, I don't know if people really understand and or believe that, but we do make everything at our shop. We produce the tools. They're made on a Miano machine. They're coated in-house. They're brazed in a furnace. We send them out for hardening, but it's local. It's a local shop.
That's great.
That hardens and tempers the tools. They come back. We paint them. We package them. We ship them. So it truly is made in the USA. Everything we do is made in the USA, 100%.
How many employees?
I believe, let me think now, we just got 13, 14.
Awesome.
It changes. Yeah.
See, I love that it's a small business, like a small tight group of people, but you guys do big business.
We do. Everybody works really hard. It's amazing what we put out in a day. It really is. Everybody works really hard, and we get it out there. Because not only are we making Saburrtooth, but we're also making the grinding wheels. So all of that is going on under the same roof, the same coating, the same technology, just on 2 different product lines.
And the grinding wheels is where everything started, right?
Yes. Yep.
And what do they actually look like? What's the brand on the grinding wheels?
The grinding wheels have the friction coating brand, and they're anywhere from, I've seen a 3-inch wheel all the way up to, well, the biggest one I probably coated was 36-inch diameter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're used in the rubber roll industry, V wheels for serpentine belt industry.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, yep. So same technology, same coating, just 2 different product lines, all done under the same roof, same people.
I love it. And then Charlie is the owner, you said. And how long has the company been around? How long has friction coating been around?
I believe it's, let me think, just before COVID, it was going to be the 30th anniversary. So 32, I believe he started it. It was incorporated in 92.
That's impressive. Could we talk about the mailing list a little bit?
Oh, sure. Newsletter subscribers. We have a good list of newsletter subscribers, getting bigger every day. We offer once a month. We offer a 25% promotional discount. It's good for 24 hours. And we don't send out emails every day. If you get on our newsletter subscriber list, you're not going to get an email every day from me.
You'll get
that once a month.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's just like, ooh, there's that coupon I've been waiting a month for. You don't get bombarded.
No, every now and then you might get one if we're launching something new. We want everybody to know, or really that's about it. That's the only 2 reasons I can think of, because I am a big advocate for not getting an email from a company every single day. You're not doing anything that's so great that you have to tell me about it every day.
I totally agree with you. Again, as a consumer,
Right. Yep.
I like that.
Sure, there's nothing worse. That makes me unsubscribe. You don't
right.
need to, I don't need, another email every day. So
completely agree. And whose idea was the 24 hours thing? Because I love that. I think that's super smart marketing, first of all. But it's also just kind of fun. It's like, ooh, there it is. What did I want? You hurry up to get it.
Right. It's kind of it was Craig, the guy who does our website stuff, and Melissa, who used to do our social media. We came up with it together. I don't remember whose exact idea it was.
Oh, that's great. So it was his team's idea.
But I thought 24 hours was good.
It's great.
And it's important. If you're going to give me access to your email, I believe it's important for me to give you something. And 25% is good. And we like the great. 24-hour. And you like you said, you look forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to keep doing it. And the list, the subscriber list is getting bigger, and that's what we hope for.
No, I absolutely love it. And then I noticed too that you're amping up on your YouTube, which is great. Like I saw some videos from Cammie's Garage on there. So is that like a new focus? You're really trying to like get back into the game and share more stuff when it comes to like the YouTube, and I'm playing on the social media and having fun there. is the goal of the company now to just kind of start really trying to get out there with the podcast and get involved with the community?
Yeah, the social media, Melissa was able to get a real community together, and I know YouTube is a thing and we need to be there, and we get a lot of customer service type questions, and I think the best way to communicate those kind of questions is via video. Of course, that's what everybody does. I YouTube and Google
Yep.
probably every day. I know I use Google every single day. And how often do you go to YouTube? How do I fix my faucet type thing? So
No,
of course,
absolutely.
you know, we need a bigger presence there because we do believe customer service is important. And me, myself, not being a carver, I call on other carvers to help me answer those questions. You know, I know about the tools, I can ship them to you, but I'm not a carver. So I count on the carvers to help me
It's
figure out how I
collaboration.
can answer,
Yeah, it's key. Like, we're here. We want to support Saburrtooth. I know just personally, I love your products. They don't wear down. Like, I don't know any other tool that stands up like your tools do, you know? So I think it's really important that, you know, if there is some kind of issue that comes up, I like that there'll be some reference now building on the YouTube. I think that's really cool.
Sure. And especially if we get like the same question a lot, we want to make sure we put that out there, because if a lot of people are asking, of course, it's something that we've missed somewhere and we need to fill that void. So yeah, that's where YouTube comes in. There's no better way to explain something than that's how I learned to look at. You have to look at it and do it or try it or whatever. But yeah, we'd like to have a bigger YouTube presence. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
And if people have questions on things, what's the best way to contact you? Is there an email on the website that they can go to?
Yes, that's the best way to contact me personally. I am orders@saburrtooth.com. I answer that email.
Perfect.
So
okay,
that's the perfect place to get in contact with me, Jody, personally.
That's great. Because yeah, if people have questions and they want to see something shown, ask.
Sure, that's the best way. And there's no question that's not right or stupid, or no question is bad. If you think you should have gotten your order, like I said, the one that took 3 weeks, of course that should have been there by then.
Right.
And I
right.
don't know, they don't tell me, meaning the Postal Service doesn't tell me if something hasn't gotten to someone. You as the consumer have to tell me you haven't gotten it, and then I can, track it from there. But that's the best way. We stand by our customer service. I had someone contact me last week. He sent me probably 8 or 10 pictures of his package. It looked like a semi truck ran over.
Oh my gosh.
I've never seen our wheel bent. It was a 4-inch wheel in the biggest grit we offer, the purple grit.
Yeah.
It totally bent. He had a little 1/8-inch sphere tool that was totally smashed. And he showed me the outside, and one of the photos was the outside of the priority mail, bubble bag. And it just looked like a semi ran over it. And he was in the middle of a commission job. So
I
didn't have I didn't have everything that he had in his order in stock, but I substituted one part, I think, and got it out the same day, because I know how that is. You're working on something that somebody's going to pay you for. You need to get it, done as soon as you can. So.
That's great customer service, and it's appreciated. I'm sure they appreciated that.
It was crazy. I've never seen anything like it before.
I'm imagining what it looks like, to be honest.
Yeah. It was a 4-inch donut, and it was a 1 3/4 inch cup it looked like it had been used on cement. It just looked like it was ran over by a semi. That's the only thing I can even say. There was black track marks on it. And I can't believe they even delivered it without one of those, we're sorry, how you get a magazine.
Yeah,
and
the little thing. Yep.
Yeah. Nope, nothing. They just delivered it.
Incredible.
Yeah. So.
Is there any teasers you can share with us?
We're planning to add some more. I hate to go back to COVID all the time, but that really put a crimp in a lot of things. Because when that first started, we had to, shut down and got behind, and, it's
many
hard to
businesses,
catch up.
yeah.
So, Yeah, so we're not alone in that. I know for sure. We're lucky and grateful to still be in business after that.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to. I have some shapes in mind, some of the same shapes we offer, but in bigger or smaller sizes. As far as grits, I think we've done everything we can do for Saburrtooth. I don't believe we
You
can
have a
go
lot
any.
to offer already. I don't think there needs
Yeah,
to be any more
yeah,
grits. Yeah, I would say
yeah. I don't
shapes is
think.
probably like the one thing that you guys can continue to play with, right? Depending on what needs people have.
Right. Yeah. Pretty much any shape. Some things like we can't make the eye cutters in an 1/8 inch shank. We don't have the machinery for that, so we only offer those in quarter. We've had people ask about 1/8 inch eye cutters. We call them cross cutters, but we can't do it on the 1/8 inch. So there are some things we can't do, but as far as shape, we can't go much smaller than the smallest sphere that we offer in an 1/8 inch.
But you can
And
go
we can't
bigger.
go. We wouldn't probably. With an 1/8 inch shank, you have to be careful that you don't go much bigger than what we offer now because you'll get run out.
I say, would it snap too? I would think.
Yeah, that's where we send them out for hardened temper for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause when you braise something, you have to then send it out to have it, strengthen back up. But in the 1/8 inch, shape wise, we could do some more. In the 1/4 inch, I believe, like the 14C 1 inch, that's probably a 1 inch head is about as big as we can go on a 1/4 inch shank. You would have to go to a bigger shank size. That's when we get into the custom. If you wanted something with a bigger head, we can make you something with a bigger shank, like a 5/8 inch shank or a 1/2 inch shank.
That's so cool because
And then
I'm sure a lot of people didn't think they could get custom burrs, you know?
yeah, you can. It's more costly and it takes longer, obviously, because we're production minded now,
Absolutely.
manufacturing. So it's a slower process and more costly, but we've done a lot for the foam industry. We make a lot of bigger tools for the foam industry, larger shanks
Oh,
and
see,
larger heads.
what is the thing that you think most people carve with? Like what kind of material? Wood, I would assume,
Wood,
right?
wood,
Yeah.
yeah, wood hands down, yeah. And then there's wood categories. You have the chainsaw people. You have the just carvers with angle grinders and
Mm-hmm.
Dremels, gourds, which end up looking like wood. Gourd carving is amazing to me. As a gardener, I can't believe that they can take a gourd and make a purse. You can have a purse made out of a gourd.
No, I think that's insane as well.
Yeah, and carved. But yeah, hands down, it's wood for sure.
It's fun. I know I love it. It's messy.
I know
It's
you.
messy, but it's enjoyable. I just it's a good time.
The only thing I can say is how I understand. Like I said, I'm not a carver, but I did this past summer buy myself a new chainsaw,
Ooh.
and all I do is trim my bushes. But man, oh man, it's so exciting.
I think chainsaws are the best too, and I don't have one, and I need to get some. You see how I say some, not just one. I need a
have
few
so
different
much fun.
sizes.
Yeah, mine's a cute little DeWalt. There's a plug to DeWalt, a plug to DeWalt as if they need it. But I love my chainsaw. When it's time to trim stuff outside, I'm like super excited. I feel like what was her name in the? I feel like her. I think of Linda Hamilton when I'm trimming.
Oh my
bushes.
God. I was totally going to ask you, who do you channel? I'm like, is it like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre going on? But I like it's Linda Hamilton, you're getting ready to kick some
For sure.
robot ass.
Absolutely. I think about her, her guns, her biceps, and
Yeah.
I don't look like that, trust me, but I think about her when I'm doing it, and it's just, I understand the lure of it because it's pretty exciting.
Well, now everyone knows to watch out if you're gardening because
Right.
you might be out there with your chainsaw.
Exactly. And that's all in my front yard. So yeah, people actually do see me doing that.
I just can imagine you just holding on to it.
Yeah. And when I'm gardening, I always have my AirPods in and music, and I often am dancing or singing at the same time. So, and I live on a corner, so everybody pretty much thinks I'm the crazy gardening lady on the corner.
It's not a bad thing to be. It sounds pretty good.
Yeah, it's fine with me. It's my house. I can sing if I want.
Exactly. Oh man. Well, thank you for joining me. Is there anything else you wanted to hit before we go?
I can't think of anything. I appreciate the customers for sure. Most people are just so nice and appreciative. I get good feedback about customer service, but again, I think as a consumer first, rather than the head of, the product line. I think of it as a consumer. What would
Yeah.
I want as a consumer? And I really try to stick to that.
I've only
But we
had
appreciate
great
our
dealings
customers.
with you, Jody. Like you have always been very quick to respond and helpful. So I think that's great.
Great, thanks.
Oh,
You.
actually, I do know two things we need to plug. You're going back out and having the team. So myself and Sadie from the Awesome Orange, we're going to start doing some events coming up.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you are doing that and be
So-
the face of Saburrtooth and do shows and bring us more people, show more
We
people
love it.
what cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to be at Makers Camp in New York, and that's in October. And then we'll be at Workbench Con, and that is going to be in next March. So
Next March.
I think
Right.
that's really cool that we're going to actually be doing like real carving demos and competitions at Makers Camp. And I don't know if you've been there yet. I know you haven't yet, Jody, but for those listening, if they haven't, it's a really cool event. Tickets, I think, are almost sold out already. So if you haven't, heard of it, go check it out because people are there and they just go at it. They let people do anything. There's welding booths, there's forging, there's going to be power carving, obviously, with us, but like there's just hands-on activities, and it's a really great way to meet other makers that you see on Instagram. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm excited. I might go to that one. So, and maybe I'll bring my chainsaw.
Oh, that would be amazing. There is I don't know if you know Ronders, but there's no, he is a guy who makes furniture from like urban trees that have fallen down. He'll take them, he mills them himself, and then he'll make furniture out of them. And he uses a big chainsaw to mill them.
Nice.
Yeah. So there is a lot of fun that happens there. And then at Workbench Con, there's the opportunity for some hands-on, but there's also, different vendors that you can visit and try their products. And there's classrooms so that you can go there and learn stuff about, editing videos or, lighting, what's the best way to do social media, do YouTube, like all those cool things. So I think it's great that you guys are starting to branch out to these new fun things that are popping up in the maker community.
Yeah, I'm excited about that too. I like that idea.
All right, everyone, you just got to hang out with myself and Jody from Saburrtooth. So if you've ever emailed Saburrtooth, obviously now you know Jody is the one that is there responding to you. She is amazing, always willing to help people. She tries to ship wherever she can. And you can see that she really cares about the consumer, which honestly I think is one of the most important things that I learned about Jody is that she really does care. She wants to put out a quality product and she wants to give you outstanding customer service. All right, so up next we have Charlie, the owner of Saburrtooth. I got to sit down with him, pick his brain, find out, how Saburrtooth came about, how Friction Coding started, and he has a really cool, fascinating story, and I was super excited that he sat down with me and we got to record this conversation. So I hope you enjoy it. Well, one of the first ones I wanted to ask you, and first of all, thank you for joining, was just what kind of person were you growing up? Like, were you always like an entrepreneur, or is this something that you found later in life? I'm just curious.
No, I have to say that my parents were not entrepreneurial. I have no relatives in the immediate family that other than lawyers and doctors
Gotcha.
that I would consider to be entrepreneurial. But I started out as a kid, and my greatest strength was taking things apart. I,
Okay.
I remember one time taking the lawnmower apart, and my father was very upset with me because I would take things apart, and either I didn't have the talent or the attention span to put it back together.
Gotcha.
But I was curious, and when I was 12 years old, my dad said, "You're going to engineering school." So
I
that
get that. That makes sense. You're curious how things are built.
that imprinted on me, and from then on, I worked to get into school, and I worked my way through school. But as a kid, of course, I had the paper routes. I mowed lawns,
Yep.
and I worked in local farms doing some pretty heavy chores. And so, yeah, I would say that I was very ambitious as a person trying to make a way in this world.
That's great though. You're motivated. I was one of those kids too. Shovel the driveways in the winter to get some money.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
like you raked leaves and maybe
Mm-hmm.
pulled the weeds.
Yep. Yep. You get what needs to get done. Nobody wants to do that anymore though.
I know. And so, yeah, from the standpoint of being an entrepreneur, I think my greatest inspiration came during my career.
Okay.
Uh, I went to engineering school and then law school, and I practiced patent law, intellectual property.
Oh, gotcha.
So throughout my career as a patent attorney, I would meet many inventors. They would come in my office and describe their invention. And often I was the first person they had ever described their invention to.
That's so cool.
So it typically turned into a brainstorming session.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time they left, we were joint inventors on whatever their idea had been when they came in. And in some cases, maybe I was the inventor. And after a few years, I decided that I was making a lot of people millionaires. And I said, hey, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
I've always tinkered, and I get that, my dad blamed me for taking the lawnmower apart, but I credit him for giving me the courage to use tools and
Yeah.
work with my hands in that respect.
That's great. My dad did the same thing for me too. He's a
Cool.
general craftsman, mechanic, everything. And yeah, we grew up building with him and learning like how things are done. And it's pretty great. I do love that I have that knowledge from him.
I can't imagine not having that experience.
Yeah,
I think
I agree.
we're both lucky in that respect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like building a shed in the backyard together, like cool things like that. Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
That's cool. So was it a client that came in with the idea for, friction coating, or was that something that you thought of on your own? Like how did that stem off?
No. In my practice, I would have various Mr. Science kind of demonstrations in my office, and I'd often give lectures about intellectual property to local, like the Kiwanis group would invite me in to explain intellectual property to us, and to a group full of screensaver faces, I would explain patent law. But what caught people's attention was physical demonstrations.
Mm-hmm.
And I had come across an idea that was similar to friction coating, and it involved magnetics concentrating the tungsten carbide particles into the cone shapes. And so I would demonstrate that, and it was a real crowd pleaser. And when every time I demonstrated it, I had to spend a lot of time cleaning it up and separating the magnets from the tungsten carbide.
I
And
know
then
things
finally,
that people don't think about when you do shows, all that prep and the cleanup. Oh, what a process.
it really, it's we've gone through a lot of science in developing how to do the process, so it's a very efficient kind of
Great.
process. But anyway, in developing this Mr. Science demonstration, I realized that I had come up with a more efficient way to build this technology. And so I described it in a patent and was issued. That was the first of 21 patents covering the technology that we use at the shop. And that was in
So great.
1987 we did that.
Wow, that's awesome. I love when two worlds collide. You know what I mean? Like the things that you learned in your day job turned into something that you turned into a whole career, you know? It's really cool.
Well, it was 35 years of hard work, and now it's an overnight success.
Yeah, right?
The funny part is I used my dining room, the table in the dining room, as my working surface during the early days of my development. And my wife kicked me out of the dining room into the basement.
A lot of cool things can happen in a basement, though.
And what was funny was I had 2 employees working in my basement while I went to work to do my day job to pay for my hobby.
You are currently describing my life right now.
Okay.
That is
All
what
right.
I do.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
My only advice to anyone in that respect is persevere.
Yes, it is a lot. It is a lot.
Oh, I can remember 95-hour weeks.
Yeah.
And at one point, I start my week on Saturday morning. That's when I would start my time clock.
Mm-hmm.
And one week, I remember Monday morning, everybody came in at 8 o'clock. I had already put in 38 hours. Hold on, my kitty is getting a little bit stressed.
Not a problem. Absolutely.
And I practice the violin and I sit at the piano. And she can't stand me being distracted from her. So she gets on the keys of the piano and walks back and forth.
I've never had a cat, but I've heard these stories and it just makes me laugh so much. They tell you who's in charge. Like, you're not paying attention to me. I need more attention.
Oh, that describes her very well.
Oh, that's perfect. So with friction coating, what led to Saburrtooth? Was it a hobby that you had? Because I know Jody told me you're a man of many interests.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think if I was growing up today, I'd be on Ritalin.
Ooh, what's this? Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I do have a lot of hobbies. Oh, just crazy. Many things keep me interested. But I have a great passion for my company. Mm-hmm. And I do all of the customer visits. And because what that helps me do is understand their problems. Right. And I can help them solve the problems. And that seems to be my greatest strength is problem solving. And if it leads to patent on our technology, then all the more power to it. Nice.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And so I traveled to all corners of the world. I was, before the pandemic, in fact, the Thanksgiving before the pandemic hit, I was in Thailand. And when I got back home, all the travel was pretty much shut down. Yeah. So, but it's funny, the first applying tungsten carbide to steel is a very old practiced technology. What I came up with was a way to do it in an organized pattern, but with the little conical shapes.
Yep.
that allow for the chips to flow out of the working surface of the tool. And so basically, the first technology or the first product that we applied this to was a file that was used by equine dentists to
Oh, wow.
float horses' teeth.
Huh.
Now there you go. That's an odd one.
So
But what
what led to that? I'm kind of curious. Like, was there somebody who was just interested, or someone like had an idea? Oh, you could use this for that.
That exactly. It turned out that was a great product manufacturing process development application, because it was a flat surface, a little bit smaller than an index card,
Okay.
and it's called a float blade, and that was applied on a handle, and then the dentist opens the horse's teeth
And files them
and
down.
files them down, and they have to file their teeth. You've heard the expression "long in the tooth."
Yes.
That's what happens if a horse's teeth grow into its cheek, and then it becomes a little cantankerous.
Oh, I'm just like
And
thinking about it. I'm like, oh man.
I know. These are brave people that float these teeth, but the most frequent application is on the racing horses, because they're fed a special diet,
Hmm.
and it doesn't have it's not like naturally grazing out in the prairie, where occasionally a horse might
Got you.
encounter a particle of soil or sand that naturally abrades the tooth.
Hmm.
And without that diet, then the teeth grow. And these people, believe it or not, an equine dentist is a very highly paid.
I was gonna assume so, honestly. That's like one of those professions that no one ever thinks about that, but like it's like a nice one to do.
The first dentist that I worked with, and actually dentist, it's not a degree profession. It's
Oh,
more like,
it's a great profession. Yeah.
yeah. The first fella that I worked with was picked up and flown around the country at the time in a Learjet. Okay.
It's amazing. He was in
Yeah.
need.
So that helped us develop the technology,
Yeah.
and then it just started rolling in and they're still rolling in. We still have a lot of applications for tungsten carbide applied to a steel, and it's amazing what people come up with, and we
That's
can
so
solve.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jody was telling me that you guys can do custom work. And I was like, oh,
Oh,
I never even thought about that. That's so cool. Like, I just see all the amazing tools that you already have, but I never even thought like, oh, they can make something custom too. That's pretty cool.
yeah, that's what with modern technology, we have these numerically controlled machines
Hmm.
that can really make any shape you want. We have a
So cool.
mill, we have lathes,
Yep.
and we have a vendor that does stampings for us, and they can do any shape we want. We recently started dabbling in new technology, the 3D manufacturing,
Oh, cool.
and so we're what that does is it allows us to model parts in plastic,
To kind
and
of
then if
test it out.
yep, yep. We have a recent development, which is a tool that has a plastic handle, and we put our coating as an insert into the plastic handle, and that's used by artists that are carving foam.
Oh, okay. Now, are those things available to order, or is that all custom that you have to inquire about?
I would say that is inquire at this point. It's still being beta tested, but
Okay.
I think that should be available, I would say, easily by the fall. once people see it, they say, oh, well, why don't you apply it here? I took a course at the community college in ice carving
Yep.
15 years ago.
That's so fun.
Now I teach that class.
Okay, so if I'm ever in Michigan, I'm coming to your class. I just want to let you know.
But in the meantime, I became a professional ice carver and entered competitions in Alaska, in China, and
Cool.
and we developed a line of tools that are used for carving ice.
That's so cool. Like, how fun.
But I think that's just an example of discovering an application, and then we just take it
Yeah.
over. This technology took over the tools that were used in ice carving and sort of revolutionized ice carving, I believe.
I believe it too, honestly. So when I found your company, I was using flap disc to do like edging, trying to make like a natural bark edge on my art. And I was like, all right, this is cool. It removes it pretty well, but there's got to be something else. And I saw my friend Cecilia from the shop Wood Design. She was like carving bowls. I'm like, all right, so what do you use? And she told me it's a Saburrtooth disc. I ordered one immediately, and then I started using it. And I told Jody, is like, I've never had to frame a piece after that, because I don't just leave the regular square piece of art. I power carve each piece on the edges because I don't have to frame it later and it looks cool. It's like, it's a bonus. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
that's very creative.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. So I think that's really cool that you partake in carving as well. And I like all the different ways that your application can work. Like, that's really neat.
Well, as we sit here and talk about applications for the technology, we found a customer in their headquarters is in Hanover, Germany.
Okay.
And the company is Continental Tire and Rubber. And they make a seal that goes in the anti-lock brake system of just about every car made.
Oh, really?
And it's a rubber seal, and they use we gave them a grinding wheel. It's probably a foot in diameter and spins at 33,000 RPM. And
Wow.
but it grinds the rubber to define the shape of the seal and the surface finish on the seal. And that goes in just about every car made.
That's so cool.
It took about 5 years for we gave them the initial product for validation. And then they had to go to each customer and give them sample ground products.
Yep.
And when it was all done, we have a very good customer for that product.
Yeah.
And that repeats, throughout the manufacturing world, where we discovered all these little niche applications.
Yeah. It's endless.
It really is. It's as much as I can have
Right.
time to.
I was going to say, as much as you guys can handle as well, because that's the hard thing. Like, when you have a product like that, you don't want to overexpand yourself too fast. And like, then you have to staff up, and it gets crazy. I mean, it's a good thing, but it can get insane.
You're right. These are good problems to grow incrementally. Well, I need to say that we are ISO certified, and in fact, I'm a ISO auditor, and I'm a 6 Sigma black belt. And so we are very sticklers on manufacturing consistency, quality, and all of those aspects. So, and it filters down to, I think, to customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
And then finally, profitability.
you make a great product that lasts though. Like I think people see that quality, the fact that it's made in America and it lasts and it you charge a good price for it. Like, yeah, they are expensive, but it's because they're worth it. You know what I mean? Like I've had a wheel for 4 years now. It was the first one that I bought that I was just telling you about. I think, actually maybe 5 years I've been using it. It still works like it's brand new. And I used it a lot. It's crazy that they just hold up. You spend that money, but that tool is going to last you a lifetime. Like it's pretty great. And you can keep collecting.
Well, until you loan it to someone.
Yeah. Oh, that's so great. So how did the name Saburrtooth come up? Like,
Well, you probably heard a few cats in my life.
I have. So you like cats. That makes a lot of sense though. Was it instant? Like, did you come up like right away once you realized that you were making burrs? Like, was it like, yep.
Well, it is sort of a natural thing, to have the burr and the saber.
Yeah.
Burr and when we actually have filed for went to our patent attorneys and filed for a trademark, and we were surprised that it was available.
Isn't that always like the best little joy when you have something and it's actually there? You're like,
yep. and I think it's kind of catchy.
It's super catchy.
Yeah. So people, there's an association between the Saburrtooth and the product.
Yeah. Yep. My kids always ask me why I'm talking about Saburrtooths. They're like, Mom, they don't exist anymore. They were around when the dinosaurs were here. I'm like, I know, buddy.
Well,
I know.
One of my cats has her wolf teeth extend out beyond her bottom lip, so I think she might be
a descendant.
All right, I hope you enjoyed getting to know Charlie. His cat was not happy with us, but we got through the interview and it was pretty fun getting to know him. He is a really cool individual, does a lot of different things. I don't think we even talked about half of his hobbies, but I think that's great that his career has brought him to a very different place than he probably thought he was going to go to, and I always like when that happens. So next podcast will be on 429, and it's going to be with Sadie from the Awesome Orange. Sadie has been in the game for a really long time, and she's one of the very first people I started following when I started doing my power carving and my hand router carving. So I really love her. She is going to be going to the Catskill Maker Camp with me, and her and I are going to be having a lot of fun doing some live carving demos and doing maybe some carving competitions. So if you're going to the Catskill Maker Camp, we'll see you there. But Sadie's also doing the We Make Sawdust competition right now, and they are just getting into it. They opened the boxes and they are getting ready to work on their pieces. So make sure you're following Saburrtooth and make sure you're following the Awesome Orange so that you can stay in tune with all of those happenings. We also have an event we want to highlight. It is from April 27th to 30th. It's the Rendezvous Chainsaw event. The event is going to be in the Ridgeway Mills campground, and that is in Pennsylvania. If you want to check out their website, it is chainsawrendezvous.org. If you know of any fun carving events that you want us to highlight, let us know. Just DM us on the Saburrtooth Instagram. All right, this is a Saburrtooth podcast, and I am your host, Tiff Marchand from Carver Designs. Have a great day and keep carving.